I don't think our next speaker needs much introduction. But just for those of you who have a pencil and want to write it down, he's the Minister of Information of the Black Panther Party, presidential candidate, the New York Peace and Freedom Party, member of the State Steering Committee of the California Peace and Freedom Party, author of the book Soul on Ice, and now speaker before this rally, Eldridge Cleaver.
What's left to talk about? I was getting uptight when he started talking, you know? I think I must talk in my sleep. Well, we're still not free. I don't see any of the policemen in here. I know they must be here somewhere. I know my parole officer has one of his friends in here somewhere. So I'm going to start off by saying that I abhor violence. And that I'm in favor of gun control. My parole officer told me when I went down to talk to him about whether or not I could travel anymore or again. And he said, you can do all of that. He said, but there's one point that you're going to have to be very careful about. And you cannot make any statements that are inflammatory and that can be construed as advocating violence. So I told him that I abhor violence, and that I would always say something about that. So if any pig is here who intends to inform that other pig calls himself my parole officer, tell him that I said he's a pig. Just tell him that. See, it's getting very difficult these days to deal with this whole revolutionary situation. Not only do they already have more laws on the books than they really need, but they're continually passing other laws. Does anybody know what the situation is? Do you know what we can do and what we can't do? What we can say and what we can't say? I don't know that anymore. And I don't have enough time to go and research all the laws. So that I'm in the position that the only thing I can say about that is fuck it. See? Fuck that. Because it seems to me that there's some type of game going on if the people in a country don't know what the law is and that the pigs of the power structure are the only ones who know what's going on. And sometimes I wonder if they know what they're doing. I don't think that they do. I don't think that they really understand what they're doing. I think that they're so hung up on maintaining their positions, maintaining the power of the Democratic Pig Party, of the Republican Pig Party. They're so hung up on that all that they can see when they look around is what's the next best move to make for the party. They put the interests of the party above the welfare of the people. So checking that situation out and coming to that conclusion, we take the position that the only way that the people can deal with this is to take it in the streets. the legislatures, the Congress, and even the courts of this country have become non-functional for the people. The way that things have been going in this country, the world is on the brink, but it's been on the brink. Some of you, I can see they're, 18, 19, 20 years old? I mean, you've lived in this climate all your life. You don't even talk about the bomb anymore. People have gotten tired of talking about the hydrogen bombs that are hanging over the head of the world. There's no point in talking about it anymore. We've protested and demonstrated. We've appealed. There are tons and tons of material that have been written to explain why certain things should be done, why we should get rid of the bombs, why we should stop oppressing people, why we should do a whole lot of things. And as the gentleman here was saying, that one of the most potent political phenomena in the country today is the growth of the political forces embodied in that little simple pig from Alabama, George E. Boy Wallace. This is a reality. This is a reality. And I think that the reason that Wallace is able to go around and to gain people to support his banner is because the people in this country are confused. I believe that the basic cause of all the shit that's going on in this country, the basic reason that it's so difficult to really do something about it, is because the people are confused. They are fed lies from the highest level. You heard about the credibility gap. I mean, the Democrats started talking about the credibility gap. They accused their standard bearer, the president of this country, as being unreliable when it comes to telling the people what's going on. That when his cabinet ministers, his cabinet officers issue out statements, we are told that you can't really believe what those statements say. And we know how the mass media functions. That because there are a lot of people in this audience who have been active in various incidents, demonstrations, what have you, that they've had occasion to read about that in the newspapers and to watch it on television, hear it on the radio, and it seems as though that they are reading about or observing on the TV something that happened someplace else. That what's being reported, in fact, had nothing to do with what really went on. So there's no wonder that people who have been deluged with this type of misinformation for all of their lives, and really for all of their history, it's no wonder that they don't know what's going on, and that when some articulate pig comes along and tells them that the only way to solve this problem is to lynch all the niggers, that because he's been a judge, because he's been the governor, because he's been anointed by some crazy preacher or some priest, because he can go to the White House, because he's in the White House, because of all of these things, I mean, there's a limit to how people can, see through all of this. You don't have time to analyze all this, and there's a tendency to throw up both hands and just go along with the situation. Well, information is the raw material for new ideas. If we get misinformation, we're going to get some brand new, funny ideas. And that's the basic problem. That we have to create images, machinery. We have to develop people who, when they talk or when they write, people can have some trust in what they say. And I don't think that it's too hard to have the attitude that George Washington was said to have had about that cherry tree. Because we're dealing with something that's much more fundamental than a goddamn cherry tree. we're dealing with the continued existence of people on the face of this planet Earth. Because the lies that have led to more lies to cover up the other lies have grown so high that many people don't even know that they're lying when they run down those lines. So that we say that it's time to begin anew, that it's time to stop going along with rhetoric and bullshit that you cannot endorse. And this is very fundamental in terms of the coalition that the Black Panther Party has made with the Peace and Freedom Party. And I get to shoot a shot at her because she said that before Huey Newton was arrested, there was no cause for communication between blacks and the whites, Black Panther Party and the Peace and Freedom Party. I think that a correct statement of that is that we did not recognize that there was a need for that. And it was only when they had Huey on death row in Alameda County, where they had indicted him for first-degree murder, and where we knew that they wanted to put him in the gas chamber, that we had to make a retreat. We had to go inside of closed doors and say, how are we going to deal with this? Because if there was one thing that we knew that we would not be able to observe the process of those pigs, those murderous pigs of Oakland, whom we knew out on the streets, who we know how they are, that we could not allow them to get away with putting Huey Newton in the gas chamber. So how are we going to deal with this? It involved examining where we are, where we were, where we wanted to go, where we were willing to go, with whom were we willing to work, and we had to look at that in terms of the program of the party, the ideology of the party. And there was nothing there that precluded a working alliance, a coalition with white people. And we began to understand that with the assumption of the chairmanship of SNCC by Brother Stokely Carmichael, a very crucial turning point in the history of the black liberation struggle had been reached. That black people were moving to assume control of black organizations. The rhetoric that was developed out of this necessity, the rhetoric to justify, because that had to be explained. There were a lot of white people who were in control of some black organizations. They were in control of certain policy-making positions in black organizations. So that something had to be said to justify that, because a lot of them didn't understand, well, I believe in brotherhood, I believe in integration, I've been out there on the picket lines, I've sacrificed for all these years, and now you're gonna kick me out. A lot of people thought that that was chicken shit. A lot of people thought that it was like fundamentally wrong. But Stokely said very clearly, and we have to remind him of this once in a while, that white people should go and organize in the white community, black people organize in the black community, and when the white people develop something that's functional, then we can have a coalition with them, a coalition, a specific coalition for specific purposes. So we had read Stokely's speeches, we had heard him speak, we had read his book, and so we quote that to him sometimes, and we use that in explaining and justifying the way that we were moving. To speak of this country, I say Babylon, Babylon. And it's so apt because it's falling. It's falling, it's sinking. We're sinking with it. It's carrying us down by a dead weight, by lies, by hypocrisy, and by the weight of the blood of the peoples of the world, waging a war in your name. even trying to wage this war in my name. This is a democratic war participated in by the peace-loving American people. We are a people who support the underdog. And it's just recently that we've been able to understand that America is the dog that's keeping that other little dog down. So we say that we recognize that freedom is indivisible, that because it was necessary for them to impose a curfew in Berkeley, that the white people there are involved, we are involved, everybody in this country is involved. And as I heard her say one day, she attributed as a quote to someone, I don't remember, that if you are not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And so we say, we would rather have more people, and we would rather be a part of the solution and not any part of the problem. So I'm thumping for the coalition. I'm thumping for a widening of the coalition. I'm thumping for people to support the petition campaign of the Peace and Freedom Party. And I'm thumping for people to have a little self-respect. Because that's all it's about. That's all human dignity is about. It's about individuals. It's about all of us, but it's also about one's own self-respect. That we have got to have too much self-respect to allow racist pigs in the power structure to shit on the rest of humanity in our name. That we've got to have enough self-respect that we will be willing to lay down our lives and to pick up the gun. And I know this is not really a speech that I should be making to the oppressor country radicals, because they're always telling me that I'm ready for that, but my people aren't ready yet. Well, I tell them they're ready or not, it's here. It's here already. It's not coming, it's here. It's here, and we have to make the decision of whether or not we're going to go willingly, whether or not we're going to allow this country to just go openly into fascism, whether or not we're going to allow the black community to be turned overtly into a concentration camp. But the black community is saying that we don't know what they're going to do. And we don't know if we can believe them when they say that they're going to take care of business. So we're going to have to move in such a way, and we're going to have to create such conditions that we can ensure that they're going to be involved and that there won't be no way out. So that's the other side of the coin of the coalition. Because you have endorsed madmen in a time that demands madmen, which means that you've done the right thing. But you better know what you've done, because we do have a little time. They haven't programmed all of the people yet. It takes them a little time to rally the American public to a new stratagem. It takes a little time. They issue their report, make a confession, and they continue to go through these changes. And if it was left like that, they would have the American people programmed to accept the genocide of black people in this country. So we're taking advantage of that time. And we're going to organize the Black Panther Party all the way across this country. We're going to develop the coalition all the way across this country. We are going to build the Peace and Freedom Party and the Black Panther Party here in Syracuse. And if the chief of police and the mayor here don't like it, they can go to hell or wait to be sent there. That's what it's all about. Huey P. Newton says that the spirit of the people is greater than the man's technology. And we believe that people are still people. They've just been put off into different bags. And that it is possible to break out of all of those bags. It is possible to liberate the people of America and to build a new world. They like to make us think that nothing can be done, that this is a gloomy situation. Nothing can be done. Trust in your president. They like for us to believe that the war in Vietnam cannot be stopped, that it's complicated, that we got to negotiate, that the North Vietnamese won't talk sense. But that war could be stopped right now if that pig who sits in my seat in the White House, you understand? Wait a minute. Listen. He has nothing to do but pick up one of those telephones and says, "Say, Brother Pig in the Pentagon, send out this order. Withdraw the pigs from the Vietnamese community and let the Vietnamese people reconstruct the damage that we have done." That's all that motherfucker's got to say. That's all he's got to say, and he's a lying punk when he says anything else. That's right. He's lying. See? Listen. That old evil, decrepit New Yorker, Avril Railroad Harriman, he's a lying pig when he comes out of that place where they're negotiating every day and say, well, they just won't talk right. He's lying. He's lying. He's lying with a straight face. He's lying, looking the camera straight in the face. He could look you in the eyes and lie. He could look his mama in the eye and lie. But every time I hear him talk, I hear him say, oink. That's all I hear. I hear him say, oink. Every time he opens his mouth, he says, oink. And I could not accept any lie that is so phonetically out of harmony with my ear. You understand? That the pigs of the power structure are oinking to the people. And we say that it has to stop, that we're going to put an end to it, and that if the pigs don't straighten up their hands, in which they probably won't, there has to be some barbecue. There has to be some barbecue. Because it's either or. Either you are going to withdraw your oppressive forces from the black community, or we're going to start shooting. Period. Because the oppressor has no right, which the oppressed is bound to respect. He's out of order from the beginning. there ain't nothing for him to say. There's nothing to talk about. There ain't no negotiating to be done. Just get your boot off my neck or I'm gonna try to snatch your leg off. And don't tell me how to do it. Don't give me no suggestions about how to snatch your leg off, because I know you lying because you want your leg. Don't tell me to do it within the framework of the American tradition, because it is precisely the American tradition that I want to smash. That's right. And don't tell me because I say take your foot off my neck that I'm a racist. Because you racist motherfucker, you're the one that's killing me. And don't tell me not to say motherfucker. Because you motherfucking fools, you dig it? Dig it. See? I recognize that people have those responses and reactions because they love Jesus. Or because they say that people who use profanity have a very short vocabulary. Well, whatever, motherfucker is a very functional term in the black community. You know that because the family structure of black people in this country has been tampered with and has always been tampered with, and somehow the women ended up like the center of the family, so that they call that matriarchy, right? So that a lot of respect for the mother has been developed. So that the most repulsive thing that could be done is for a person to be involved in incestuous relationships with his mother. So that when you say, you are a low-down, dirty motherfucker, he's just saying, man, you doing the worst thing that a human being can do. And within the context of political situation, the American people are some dirty motherfuckers. Some dirty motherfuckers, see? That's what they are. Because they sit around and say that the majority of the people don't endorse that genocide, don't endorse that evil, and that just a minority does that. Where is that majority? Where is it at? It's not in this room. It's not down there supporting that muddle-headed Humphrey, meathead Humphrey, simple motherfucker Humphrey. It's not out there supporting motherfucker McCarthy. It's not out there. It's not out there supporting that dirty motherfucker Richard Nixon. And it's not supporting that rich, dirty motherfucker in Rockefeller. It's not out there. It's out there confused, not knowing who to support because of some cold shit on the set today. What do you think that your white brothers are thinking when they look at you and say, people have gone crazy? Here they are, they done endorsed this nigger, this convict, this crazy Black Panther. Yeah, America's gone crazy. Let Wallace have it. You did? But everything has been turned inside out. And what we have to do is get across to the people that we have been the victims of a peekaboo game, and that things have been switched around and they're no longer where we were told they were supposed to be. That we were told that power lies with the people, that this was a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And we have to get across that it is a fact, it is already a fact, that this filthy government is government of the pigs, for the pigs, and by the pigs. That's what it is. And the people are in pain. The people are confused. The people are full of fear. And they don't know what to do about it. And so we have to say, let's try this. Let's try to open up a new chapter. Let's close the door, or the cover. Let's close the book. Let's close that chapter on everything else. Let's close the book on American history, written by pigs, authorized by pigs, implemented by pigs. Let's seal that book. Let's start another book that begins. Let the first chapter be about the coalition between the Peace and Freedom Party and the Black Panther Party. Let's start a book there. Let's start a new chapter at a moment of desperation. Let's show good faith. Let's say that here's one of the most alienated categories of men. Ex-convict. I'm not going to say them other bad things about myself. See, let's say we'll start this chapter with this cat, and that this will be the most profound descent that we can make to the status quo. Because we are telling those pigs who are in power that you're so foul, that you have disgraced us so much, that we are so ashamed of you, and we are so tired of you, and we are so determined to get rid of you, that we endorse Eldridge Cleaver. And Eldridge Cleaver will go there and tell them like it is. If you want me to, if you tell me that you would organize the Eldridge Cleaver committee and support me and get me out again, I'll go down there and slap his motherfucking face. I'll do it. See? I'll do it. I'll do it. But I'm not going to go right now because we got some more work to do. We got to mobilize some more forces. If you help me get Huey P. Newton out, I'll do it. If you help me get Huey P. Newton out of jail, I'll slap the president's face for you. I'll do it. And I hope that they don't think that this is some tricky politics, that I'm trying to scare someone out of winning this election, that he's going to throw in his hand because he don't want his face slapped, because he knows that if I slap him, I'm subject to have a trick up my sleeve and take his head. All of that. All of that, and all of this country, all of this world. We're not going to conduct a traditional campaign because we're trying to break with tradition. How would I look arguing about increase the appropriations for the military budget? I want to abolish the military budget. I want to pass a gun control law that will take the guns out of the hands of the pigs and give them back to the people. Give them back to the people. I wouldn't mind if every man, every 18-year-old man had a gun in this country. I think it would be stupid. But I wouldn't mind because I feel that we could deal with it. Because people are always going to think of surviving. And cowboys dealt with it. Everybody on the frontier wasn't involved in those quick draws, you know? It seemed to me that when I see a cowboy picture, it's only 2 or 3 fools out there playing with them guns. And everybody else is checking the shit out, see? And that they're waiting until Roy Rogers gets shot by Trigger or somebody, you dig? And then they go in and just wipe them all out and they put the flag back up, you dig? There's a world of difference between 20 million unarmed black people and 20 million black people armed to the gills. And I say that that's a desirable situation because we feel that as long as this situation exists, that we have to use the only power that we have, the only power that can never be taken from anybody when everything else is taken. And that's the power to destroy, the power to disrupt, the power to throw a nigger wrench in the machinery. And so we say that we believe that every man, woman, and child on the face of the planet Earth has the right to the highest, best, and the most beautiful life that technology and human knowledge and wisdom is able to produce, period. So we start from there, and we don't want to hear anybody saying, well, you can't feed those people there because I have a deed that says that I can do what I want to with that. We don't want to hear about the deeds of trust. We don't want to hear about the blue chip stock. It's only paper and it'll burn. See? We say this, that the people have a right to the best because this is all that we know that we have is this life. Those who believe that they can suffer now and get theirs after death, when you go before the throne of the Lord, tell him that Eldridge was sincere, but he just didn't know. Look at here. Look at here. And maybe those who make it across wouldn't want to mention such things to the Lord. So I'm going to tell him myself when I get there. Because if he tries to put me in hell and put some fire on my ass, I'm going to look around and find some beautiful people there and say, let's organize a Black Panther party and a Peace and Freedom party. Yeah. Let's organize the Black Panther Party and the Peace and Freedom Party. I mean, we may even make the transition with our machinery intact, you did? Because I don't think that there's too much that I do that you don't do. So let's mobilize the coalition and let's overthrow this devil. Put him in the fire and let him barbecue. Did? And if God himself would will such misery for people whom I love, I would say, let's deal with him. Let's deal with him. And if we can deal with him on that level, if we can understand that, then certainly we can deal with these buffoon pigs who are running around here thinking that they got everything uptight. I say that we can deal with it. I say that we can stop this war. We can set a deadline on this war and tell them that on Hiroshima Day, on Nagasaki Day, the people of America want all of the American troops out of Vietnam forthwith, or we can open up another front right here in Babylon. But you shouldn't clap for that. You shouldn't clap for that because you're not ready for that. Today is the 26th, 27th. You ain't ready for that. See, we started thinking about that some time ago, but we didn't get our shit together right. I'm not gonna say we're not ready for that. The only reason we're not ready for it because we think that there are not enough people ready for it. And there's a conflict involved in that because we consider ourselves to be a vanguard organization. And a vanguard organization is supposed to educate by example. And I see I'm getting myself in deep. And my parole officer's partner might still be here. That fool, J. Hoover Edgar, I know he's got somebody here. If he don't, he ain't doing his job. Because we are subversive to the bullshit that's going on in this country. Yes, we are. And we're not afraid to say it. We don't mind saying it. And we would hope that they would subpoena us so that we would have the pleasure of saying, stick your subpoena up your motherfucking ass. And I'm just going on. I want to say to my parole officer that I'm going to quote to you a parable or a saying, whatever it is, that I read while in prison in one of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's columns in the newspaper. And he said that Satan will say, when the matter is decided, that I had no authority over you, but I called you and you came. You did? That you don't have to heed that call, that you have free will, and that the people of America have free will, even though they think that there's some kind of, I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass that. The people of America have free will. We know that they're up against some dirty pigs in the news media. We know that. We know that they're up against some educators who miseducate. We know that they're up against preachers who lie on Sunday and who will sprinkle holy water on hydrogen bombs. We know that. We know that. But we still say that the people will always be able to wrest control of their destiny out of the hands of administrators and public servants, civil servants who have begun and who have grown arrogant. Who have grown arrogant and who believe that they own this country. Who believe that they own the people in this country. The people still have the free will that they can have a thorough house cleaning, that they can sweep the halls of Congress clean. They can put all of the pigs in the pig pen, and that they can give the world a new lease on life. That the destiny of the world is in the hands of the American people. That whatever way America goes, the world will go. If America becomes a fascist state openly for everybody, then the whole world can forget it. And I think that we have a duty to ourselves and to posterity, to the whole idea of civilization, to run ourselves to death to avert a probable catastrophe. All power to the people. Black power to black people. Panther power to the Black Panther Party. Peace and freedom power to the Peace and Freedom Party. Thank you.